Do you know your numbers when it comes to your membership site? You'd be amazed how many membership owners do not have a handle on the key performance indicators, the key metrics of their membership business. If you don't know your numbers, you could be in trouble. Fortunately, in episode 333, I'm going to be talking about the KPIs that every membership site owner should be tracking. Let's do this.
You're listening to the Membership Guys podcast, bringing you proven, practical tips and advice from the leading experts on growing a successful membership business each and every week. And now, here's your host, Mike Morrison.
Well, hello there. You're listening to the Membership Guys podcast. I'm your host, Mike Morrison. Today, we're talking all about membership KPIs. But before we dive into that, I just want to thank you for spending part of your day with me. If you're a brand new subscriber to the show, make sure that you hit that subscribe button in your podcast app to ensure that you do not miss a single weekly episode of the show. We bring you the good stuff when it comes to every stage of planning, building, launching, and growing a successful membership business. And every episode, if I say so myself, is solid gold. So you're going to want to make sure that you are getting your weekly installment of membership goodness. All right, how's that for a self-indulgent sales pitch for the show? If you're a long-term subscriber, you know I love you. You know I appreciate each and every second of your attention that you give us. Thank you so much for continuing to support the show. Thank you so much for continuing to support the show, for all your great feedback, your fantastic reviews. If you haven't left us a review and you do enjoy the show and the Membership Guys podcast has been useful to you, I would so appreciate it if you could take just a minute or two of your day to leave us a nice, shiny 5-star review and a few kind words about how the show has helped you. I read each and every single one. I love each and every single review as long as it comes with those shiny 5 stars, which God bless you all, they usually do. So if you do have a moment or two to let us know how the show has helped you, not only does it help us to know we're doing a good job, but it also helps us to reach more people, to make more of a difference, and to help more people be successful with their membership. And speaking of successful memberships, every single successful membership site owner knows their numbers. If you don't know how your membership business is performing in key areas, then you have no basis for growth or for making improvements, or indeed for knowing whether your membership site is doing well or if it's in trouble. Worryingly, when we did our membership industry report a couple of years ago, 14% of membership site owners stated that they aren't tracking their KPIs at all. Those KPIs, the key performance indicators, the numbers, the metrics in your business that tell you how you're doing. 14% don't track them at all, and an even greater number only track a few. This needs to change. So here are the key performance indicators that you should be monitoring and measuring in order to ensure that you have your finger on the pulse of your membership business. So the first is turnover and profit. This, of course, is key to any business and the most obvious KPIs you should be aware of. How much money is your membership business making? What is your profit margin? Knowing the financials is essential for every business owner, not just those running membership websites. It's not just about seeing the number in your bank account and thinking, hey, that's a lot of money, I must be doing well. Remember, while many people will be quick to brag about their turnover, particularly if you're in the online business space, what really matters in business is the overall profit that you're making. As the old saying goes, turnover is vanity, profit is sanity. Having a great accounting system in place to monitor those figures makes it easy to stay on top of things. If you're in the UK, we recommend Free Agent. Free Agent is the platform we use for ourselves, but of course you have things like QuickBooks, like Sage, and other fantastic tools out there that will help you to keep your books and to see those figures for your turnover, for your profit, and all that stuff that every business needs to know at a basic level. The next KPIs you need to be on top of are your website traffic and site activity. You need to know how many people are coming to your site and what they're doing when they get there. Every website, not just membership sites, should have some sort of website analytics service in place, which measures and monitors traffic and visitor behavior. Google Analytics is, of course, the most widely used platform for measuring this data, and it also enables you to do things like goal tracking, split testing, and a lot more. Measuring traffic, identifying patterns, and being able to drill down not only into key information about your visitors, but also see what your most popular content is, where your traffic is coming from, what days of the week are you actually getting the most visits. All that sort of stuff provides you crucial data for refining and improving your marketing strategy, which in turn will help you get more members. You also need to make sure that you're aware of your conversion rates. Of course, you want the people visiting your website to become leads, so to sign up for your email list and then ultimately to become members. So you need to know how effective your lead generation and sales strategies are. To that end, you need to know your conversion rates. What percentage of traffic to one of your key pages, so your sales page or the sign up page for a free lead magnet, what percentage of that traffic takes the action that you want them to take? So this would typically be signing up to your mailing list or joining your membership site. The goal tracking features of Google Analytics can help you to measure and monitor this. Conversion rates are such a key piece of information because they will help you to identify basically what is working and what is not working. And they're a key piece of the puzzle if you want to look at the bigger picture. How much traffic comes in, how much of that traffic converts to leads, how much of those leads convert to sales, and so on. Knowing that bigger picture is so important for everything from budgeting for ad spend to deciding what areas of your business to focus on, to identifying which piece of that marketing machine maybe isn't working as well as other pieces. Knowing your conversion rates is crucial. The next key performance indicator is trial retention. Now, obviously, this is only a KPI if you're offering a trial for your membership site. So if you are, it's crucial that you have a way of measuring what percentage of those trial participants go on to become full paid members. You may have a trial that's attracting staggering numbers of new signups, but if none of them stick around beyond that initial free period, then it's all for nothing. You might be looking at your sales figures and see, hey, we've got so many people joining our membership site. This is amazing. But actually, if they're all joining on a trial, and at the end of that trial, only a tiny percentage are staying, then you're not actually getting the sales that you think you are. So you need to know what percentage of trial participants you're retaining. Depending on what system or platform you're using, this information might not be readily available, so you might need to do a little bit of manual work in order to get this info, to get this data. But whatever you've got to do, even if it's manually crunching the numbers and comparing the amount of trial signups to the amount of members who stick around after that initial term, you need to know those figures. The next KPI, perhaps the most important KPI that you're going to hear about when it comes to memberships, is your churn rate. Member retention is as important, if not more so, than acquiring new members. Memberships are a retention business. And it costs far less to keep an existing member than it does to bring in a new one. And with membership sites, the longer someone stays a member, the more revenue that you generate. That's the model. So churn is the rate at which you lose those members. And for obvious reasons, it's a crucial statistic that every membership site owner should stay on top of. To calculate your churn, you simply work out how many members were here on day 1 of the month and how many of those members, so ignoring any new ones that have joined during the month, how many of those members who were here on day 1 are still here on the last day of the month. So if you have 100 members on January 1st and 98 of them are still there on January 31st, then your churn for that month was 2%. Again, for the purposes of calculating churn, we ignore any new members who joined during that month. It's all about how many members who were here at the start of any given period are still there at the end of that period. Now, opinions vary on what an acceptable churn rate is in the membership world. Accepted wisdom from the software market, the SaaS subscription market, is that you should be aiming to keep your churn below 5%. Now, We do, however, find with membership sites that are typically centered around e-learning and community, where there's a little less skin in the game than there is with SaaS, 5 to 10% tend to be more realistic. Again, according to our online membership industry report, around 44% of online memberships have a churn rate of 5% or less, with a further 22% achieving churn between 5 and 10%. If your subject matter of your membership or your training material is finite, so for example, there's a set period of time during which someone gets their content, or there's a fixed point at which someone might no longer need it, then naturally your churn will be higher. So you need to take things like this into account. However, the most important thing is just knowing what your churn is, knowing roughly what you're shooting for, knowing that under 10% is okay, under 5% is fantastic, and obviously taking action and making sure you're focusing on your retention strategy if you are way off that sort of churn rate. But it all starts with knowing what your membership churn actually is. The next KPI that every membership site owner should be measuring is your member lifetime value. As we've established, member retention is vital for a successful membership site, and it's all because of that lifetime value, that wonderful metric. Your member lifetime value is the average financial value of each member on your membership site. If your membership costs $50 and your members stay for 6 months, then your average member lifetime value is $300. Simple. The lifetime value of your members may also incorporate upsells or add-ons, upgrades to premium levels, and so on. Just basically, if you get a new sale, if someone joins, how much can you expect in terms of revenue to be generated from that person? Knowing that lifetime value means that when planning advertising campaigns or any other marketing spend, you can more accurately assess your return on investment. So if you're using Facebook ads, for example, and it's costing you $20 for every sale you generate, you might look at that and think, okay, well, my membership's $25 a month, so it's costing me $20, and right away, that initial sales, it's $25. It doesn't seem like we're doing too well. But if the lifetime value of every member that you attract is $2,000, paying $20 to generate $2,000, that's one heck of a return, right? So you need to know this lifetime value to get that bigger picture in order to be able to make better decisions about your marketing, about how you run your business, and so on. The next KPI you need to know is customer acquisition cost. Again, we just touched on that in that example we gave. Every penny counts when it comes to business, so you need to be aware of how much it's costing you to get new members. These costs can mount up, so it's important to understand whether you're getting a good return on investment when it comes to your marketing spend. Again, paid advertising, the most obvious example of where you absolutely need to know your customer acquisition cost. And if you are running things like Facebook ads, Google ads, whatever, it can be easier to get a grasp on what your acquisition cost is, because you'll typically be able to see precisely how much you've spent on advertising through those channels, how many sales have come directly from that channel, and then work out how much the cost per sale has been. However, not all marketing can be so clearly measured, so it's important not to forget about those indirect costs too, as well as the direct costs of paid advertising. Any tool, any resource, or indeed any person, individual, subcontractor, employee that you pay, which plays a part in acquiring members, needs to be accounted for. Once you know your customer acquisition cost, you can make better, more informed decisions on where to invest, as well as be able to better predict the return that you get. The next and final KPI you want to make sure you're on top of is member engagement. Keeping your members engaged with your content and your community is key to prolonging the member lifecycle, increasing retention, and raising your member lifetime value. As such, you should be monitoring and measuring how engaged your members are. Now, there isn't a single straightforward value or equation that will tell you how engaged people are, but looking at stats like the number of times people log in, the completion rate of courses, the frequency with which people post in your forum, how many discussions per day are happening, all that sort of stuff paint a picture of how engaging your site is and how engaged your members are. There are some tools like Intercom, for example, that can keep on top of some of these things, that can flag any members that are slipping away. So maybe they haven't logged in for 30 days or more. You can use tools like Users Insights, again, which gives you more data, more of an insight into member engagement. If you're using a learning management system, an LMS plugin, again, quite often they will come with some sort of reporting that enables you to see course consumption, course completion. If you're using the member-only theme, we do have a simple little reports plugin for that, which will show you completion rates for your member-only courses too. Whatever you need to do, and obviously this will differ from membership to membership, depending on what you're offering, depending on your community, all that sort of stuff. But figuring out, okay, what are the markers that someone is engaged? Whether it's as simple as how often are people logging in, how many times do they log in, how long is it going between their logins? Get mechanisms in place to ensure that you can track and keep on top of levels of member engagement. So those are essential KPIs every single membership site owner should be measuring. By no means are they the only stats, the only data that is useful in your business, but at a basic level, you need to be on top of this stuff. You need to know, first of all, turnover and profit. Like that's just a given for any business. Any online business needs to know what's going on with their website, traffic, site activity, conversion rates for leads, for sales, how many sales you're getting, trial retention if you're running trials, churn rate, the big one for online memberships, the one everyone focuses on and everyone talks about. However, the stat that's maybe superseded in terms of its overall importance by member lifetime value. After all, churn really is just part of the equation in calculating member lifetime value. That's really what it's all about at the end of the day. We also need to know your customer acquisition costs, and you need a good idea of how engaged your members are too. So if you don't know these numbers, get to know them. There are tools available. There's things like ProfitWell, which are real good for subscription businesses. They'll show you churn rates. They'll show you even more advanced information. Again, we mentioned things like Intercom. We mentioned things like Users Insights. Look to see what reporting your membership plugin or platform provides you and get on top of this information. You need to know your numbers. All right, that is it from me. I'll be back again next week with another installment of the Membership Guys podcast.